open up JD Edwards here. And on this, at the same time, I'm sharing my mobile screen here through Air Server, and I'm going to show you the Atom IQ app, which is over here, which is a one universal app. Right now, the system I'm running is an Android system, but it is compatible with any other OS like iOS as well as web application as well. So I'm going to tab on the Atom IQ app, and uh, let me go over the user experience first, and then we will delve into a couple of demonstrations quickly. So as soon as we see there's a company login screen, we do support Face ID. If we tap on the company login screen, you can see it prompts for user ID password. It can be a local Atom IQ login, or we do support Microsoft Azure AD integration. So if you are Microsoft 365, as well as we do Google authentication as well. So that can be integrated with your company directory. So for the sake of this, I'm just going to log in as myself and sign in. And if you can see, as soon as I sign in, there are a bunch of options that are available on top, which are these. So if I can always scroll through these options, and these are the ones which we call as dashboards within Atom IQ. So each dashboard serves its own purpose. If I tap to purchase, I can see a bunch of tiles over here. Each of one of these is a tile, and and it can be all configured based on your needs. So for instance, in purchasing, we can see receiving, release to stock, MRB, and all other tiles. And if I scroll to the next one for inventory, it can have its own inventory related tiles like inventory transfer, inventory issue, adjustment, reclass, inventory inquiry. So these are where some of the out of the box apps that you see, right, we are supporting. So it's even though it's one universal app, the way we have designed the user experience is that within that app, all of these functionalities or apps, sub apps would be available. And then we do apply security on it, wherein let's say a user is specific to inventory and doesn't need to see the purchasing or sales order related dashboards which are on the top, then we can apply security, and it's pretty granular, so that not only at the dashboard level that users will only see the inventory dashboard, but let's say within inventory dashboard certain functions that user doesn't is not should not be performing, then that we can also support that kind of security, wherein even though the user would see the adjustment, if the access is not granted, the user cannot do adjustment functionality based on the setup of security within Atom IQ. And the Atom IQ admin is solely responsible for the security of Atom IQ platform. So we do have an admin console from where all of these low code, no code development all happen from a super user point of view, but also from an admin point of view. You could control you can add and create your users easily, manage security, and so on. So likewise, if I delve into the details of let's say the transfer, you can see 4 icons here on bottom, right? So it's all standard for each of these tiles. The first one is refresh. Each tile, if you can see, is color coded and it has its own count, right? So for example, there are 2 to 5 transfers that have been accomplished, or if I go to purchase requisitions, there are 7 requisitions that are awaiting my approvals, right? So based on the threshold level, each tile can be configured and color coded. So if it goes beyond let's say this number goes beyond 250, then it becomes red. Until then it serves as orange. So if you are familiar with watch lists, so somewhat similar functionality, but it is extended to have more features. And then there is a refresh icon as well. So let's say more PO approvals are flowing in through, and I'm at this tile, and I can tap on the refresh icon, and that would actually just refresh, as you could see, this specific tile. The next icon is the share icon. I will tap onto it, so I could actually share these uh, devices. These uh, 7 approvals with let's say I can send it as a text message, or I can send it uh, as uh, uh, as an email as well. So as you can see, I'll share it to, let's say, Nitin, and the attachment is over here. And if I tab onto it, it shows all those the data that is behind those 8 or 7 requisitions uh, that is showing over here. The next option is, of course, if you don't want to share and you want to analyze that data further, there's an option to download it. So we could download that data here. So I'll tap onto the download icon, and it opens up the native Excel on the device, and the data is can be downloaded and analyzed further. We do support notification as well, the bell icon. So each of these individual uh, tiles can be set up from a notification point of view in order to get alerts, so that a text message or a pop-up native notification of the device is being sent out, and then the user can be, instead of reactive, can proactively review those requests. Having said that, I believe I have covered most of the common user experiences. Of course, there is one that I will show you how we can, if I click on the home page, there are certain records you could see here. These are the pinned records because it's something like favorite that I have marked intentionally, so that they stay on top of my mind whenever I log into. Let's say there is a critical requisition that I'm monitoring, or a cycle count that I'm monitoring, or an inventory for the availability. It's a high valued item, so I would like to pin it and keep it on my home page, and then I'll show you how that happens. And if that once that is done, I can always swipe right and tap onto the unpin and confirm that record would go away from my pinned list or the home screen, so to say, the favorites. So having said that, let me tap onto the inventory availability and tap onto inventory inquiry to show you a quick demonstration how we can actually go about with the using the app, specifically in this case inventory availability. So as you can see, there is a QST branch that has been loaded, and on this side I will also open up the inventory availability in JDE, and I'm going to query on one of the items. So this is how the availability looks like in JDE as of now, right? And I'm going to use the same item to query the availability from Atom IQ mobile app. So we do support scanning functionality, and I would like to show that here. I have generated the barcode for this item, and here it is. So I'm going to use my, I'm going to tap on the scan button, and it's going to use the camera functionalities to scan the barcode. And as you can see, it has pulled the barcode and scanned the barcode and pulled the item from the cross reference for that barcode, and we could see the item with its description. And I'm going to hit submit now. I'm going to tap onto the submit. And let's say if we are interested in this location, which is QR1QC having 440. So one can actually see all these records by scrolling through, and there is a search functionality also available. So I could easily search by QR1QC, and it's as you can see, it pulls all the locations that are within this QR1QC. And if I were to scroll, we can see all the quantities that are available within this. So as you can see, there is a 440 record for 440 each, and then there is one record for this, and there are other records that have 0 on hand, and those are the ones that are also showing up for this location. So the other way to search for this item, if I hit the back button, is if I remove the barcode and the item, let's say the item, we can search the item from the item master using this drop down functionality and search the item by its item number or description. So if I were to search by cone, and I found the same item, and I can tap onto it and hit submit. So barcode scanning is just optional. If that's not part of your business process, then you could always search the item by its item number or its description, and go ahead with the checking the item availability. So having said that, I'm going to go back and switch over to purchase requisitions. So I'm going to create a requisition now in JDE, and then I have, as you can see, I have logged in as a different user. This user is going to create the PO requisition, and for which myself, Arun, is the approver within JDE. That's how I've set up the route code currently. So having said that, let's X out of this and go to the event page for purchasing. And I'm going to create a PO requisition here quickly. And let's say someone is ordering from Amazon for our Atom IQ at Circular Edge as the ship to, and I'm going to assign the branch and hit OK. So I've created the header for the requisition. Now I'm going to put in the items that I would need in my requisition. So I'm saying, let's say this item, I would need 5 of these. And then one of the items that we scanned recently for the item availability, I'm going to order 7 of that. So we have an order that is 747 that got created. And let me sign out as that user and sign back in as myself, who has been set up as the approver on this acquisitions route code. And once it opens up, I'm going to show you, open up the purchase order requisition approval screen to confirm that 747 is available to me and for review in JDE. Yes, there we go. So let me switch back here, and right now if I pull down refresh, I'll just as you can see, there are 7 requisitions awaiting my approval. I'll pull down refresh, and there are 8 that are available. I could have done the refresh here for individual tile as well, or pull down refresh. What it does, it refreshes all the tiles or accounts that are within this dashboard. So that's another feature. So I'm going to tap now on the requisition approval and try to locate the 747 requisition that is there. So it shows all the requisitions that are pending my approval, and as you can see, 747 is here, but I could as well search. If the list is long, then I can always search for that order, and it will shortlist them, filter them for me, and then I can see that the order number 747 is ready for approval since last one day. and the supplier is so and so Amazon, and the order amount is 61K, and the order type is OR. All of these is configuration based. Even though if we say it's out of the box app, we can easily configure these to suit your business needs as to what needs to be displayed in this list view when the actual approver tries to do that. And also what is config base is the actions that one needs to take. As you can see there, I've just set up quickly within a few minutes some of the actions like approve, reject, call, or like view the attachments. So if I tab on the attachment, it shows, let's say, some of the attachments that we may have tied to that particular requisition. That's also possible to review documentation before approval. Let's say in this case, we want to call the supplier and confirm a few things before going ahead with the review process. We have the call button, and then and it can pull the relevant information from the data. And once I do that, we leverage the native device capabilities, and we can make some phone calls here. Let me switch back, and then if I swipe from right to left, I can see an email as well. So I can my other way of contacting, let's say if I confirm yes and use Outlook, I can, my another way to, in this case I have put my ID. We could use the data elements to map the supplier's email ID, and we can actually send an email to the supplier saying need this urgently and send it. So once that is done, you would see an actual email flowing through, and then we can see that happening over here. So coming back to the PO approval screen. Now let's talk about the actual review process, approval and rejection. Before that, let's say if I want to tap onto this record and see actual details of this order, I can always tap onto it and see the two lines that are within this order, like item ending in 301 is for quantity 5 each, and what's the unit cost and total amount, and similarly for the other line item. I can always go back, and now I can do the approve reject at the order level. So approval, if I tab on to approve, it takes me to another screen where we have all the data that is needed to review and approve, and there is remarks that one can enter before approval and hit the approve button. And finally, there is this reject button. I can tap onto it, and it will take me to the PO rejection form, wherein I can always scroll and select a reason for rejection saying budget not available, and shows the total order amount, and I'll tap onto the reject button. So having done that, it gives me a response immediately that the order has been rejected successfully. And if the order is still here, if I do a pull down refresh, the 747 would should go away from here, and the count has reduced to 7. And if I go back to JTE here, this order should go away from my queue once it is rejected successfully. So that's about the PO approval app. And then let me come back to the other part of the demo where we actually use business process modeling. And I would like to show a quick preview of the modeler that is the core of our platform. And this is where we overcome some of the limitations that are uh, within Atom or within standard Enterprise One implementation of PO approval. So what we are seeing right now is a sample model that has been quickly put together, where we see different level of executives being part of the review process, and then we have the supplier who is involved for getting the notifications of whether whether the PO has been approved or rejected, and the supplier can also communicate back in case, let's say, if that is needed. So it all starts with someone initiating the PO approval based on, or we could bring in based on last status, next status of the orders, and then there's a human actor that is involved for the review process, and then there are some decision making points based on that, whether we need to send it to another executive or not. And this is just sequential, but definitely we can have parallel approvals where the review can happen parallelly by these two swim lanes, and we can then all collate together, and then if both approve, then only send it to the supplier, or either one approves, then send it to the supplier based on how your business process is. All of these is just can be configured. So this BPMN tool uh, is is useful uh, to perform an end-to-end business process modeling that requires a lot of manual work to be combined, and we automate a lot of steps in an unified workflow. So the workflows are properly orchestrated, right, in this case, and uh, uh, what we enable is a lightweight, developer-friendly, easy to integrate solution to fix the broken human-based processes. So it's like you can think of it as a workflow automation with a human touch, and it uses BPMN industry standard process for execution. And there is always a sequence from start to end. That's the flow. And there are basic elements in this process that are called tasks. These tasks are the units of work that create a meaningful result. The task can be like system tasks, they can be human tasks, and choosing the granularity of the task is up to the person who is modeling this process. And we can have events waiting for something to happen. For example, if an email comes back from the supplier, then do this, else wait for some time. And we can also configure, let's say we wait for 48 hours. If that time does not has elapsed, then do not wait further, send a reminder email, and so on and so forth. All of these are to the core part of the BPM engine. And of course, we do have decision making points as well, ability to configure those.